I was raised in a Christian family, and I was extremely devout for a couple of decades or more. I read the entire Bible, memorized parts of it, and ultimately came to understand that it had traumatized me. As a young child, I was told what made me understand that essentially I was responsible for Jesus' death, and that was really difficult, and so I tried really hard to please God, but I was also told that my righteousnesses are as filthy rags, so it was kind of hard to develop a healthy sense of self-worth. Later in my life, when about 15 years ago, I fell in love with this woman, and that is when I learned what unconditional love is. Actually, over the years since then, I would die for her. I would never speak to her again if that's what would make her happy. In fact, I have done that, and I never stopped loving her. Her happiness is what brings me happiness, and my happiness and love flows out into every area of my life, and I find myself full of gratitude and feeling like giving anything I can to my friends and people that I come across in life. I can't imagine any other experience of love I've had that compares to the depth and steadiness of the love I have for her. And I don't understand how anyone could think that God condemns that love.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much that was beautiful. Thank you for sharing, and
thank you for listening.
I can really feel it. And so, yeah, I know there are so many things in the Bible. There are so many things that are communicated that are really hard, really tough. There are a lot of things in the Bible that I don't like. A lot of things I don't like about the Bible. I don't like the one about, being generous to the point of it hurting, being sacrificial. I don't like laying down my life for other people. I don't like the idea that I'm supposed to love my enemies. I mean, I've learned that it's good, right? We need to love our enemies. We need to love people that we don't agree with. But my initial reaction is that I don't like that. And so the thing about it is that I'm just asking myself, if I don't like something, does that still mean that it's not true? And
I don't understand how God doesn't like love.
Oh, I didn't say that God doesn't like love. I was talking about me looking at the Bible. Because there's a lot of stuff in the Bible that I don't like.
You don't like it in the Bible that it says a woman shouldn't love another woman. Isn't that what you're saying?
What I am saying is what I'm going to say. I don't want to put words in your mouth, and I don't want you to put words in my mouth, if that's cool. Is that right? So obviously it's 2019. There's a lot of tension around the issue of LGBTQ. There's a lot of tension around what the Bible says about different lifestyle choices. Like I'm not going to beat around the bush, right?
I think you misunderstand me.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not talking about a lifestyle choice.
Okay.
I'm talking about, what is your definition of love? It's what's in my heart.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
It's not a lifestyle choice.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. Right. And I think that's probably where we might have to disagree a little bit, because I don't like monogamy either. I don't like it. I would prefer to be a player. I would rather have a lot of lovely ladies in my life. I'm just going to be honest. Anybody? Lovely ladies? Okay. I would prefer that. Okay? But what I have learned is that my relationship with my Lord is that I'm not Lord. He is. And so when I look at what he talked about, a relationship that he wants to honor, my idea of a relationship did not meet that criteria. And so when I started to become serious about my faith in Jesus, I had to decide who's going to be the Lord of my life when it comes to all the lovely ladies or my sexuality or what I choose to do with my reproductive organs. And I would prefer to be the captain of that ship. And I felt a lot of really great stuff, but ultimately I was not honoring what Jesus actually calls marriage, what Jesus calls a relationship with another person. And so that's when my relationship with Jesus started to get serious. I realized, you know what? I am going to dedicate my life to one woman because that's what Jesus is very clear about. And so if you're not a Christian and you don't want to have a relationship with Jesus, it's not important to you. I can still love you as a friend. We can still be friends. We can disagree about what Jesus says about what marriage is. And if you don't want to follow Jesus, that's fine. You can be in love with, are you married? Or are you just dating? Okay. Or are you together? I don't want to quantify your relationship. I'm just saying, if you don't love Jesus and you don't want him to be your Lord and you don't want him to say what you do with your sexuality, then you don't have to.
I want to point out that you seem to be holding in both hands. In one hand, you're holding that you can't have multiple women, you can only have one fulfilling relationship built on mutual love.
Right.
What we were taught is that we can't even have one.
Okay.
We're not worthy.
Okay, yeah. Well, Jesus' definition of marriage, Jesus's. And so if you don't care about what Jesus says, then that's okay. You don't have to. Jesus says it's between one man and one woman. And so that's why I made the choice with my sexuality the way that I did. And so I love you guys. You're so great. I'm glad you're here. I'm just not going to lie and say that Jesus has different definitions of marriage.